Yes, I saw the dubs, big dubs, fat dubs on the timeline. I saw, in a hilarious twist of the delicious irony, the court tentatively determined that Denham's reaction to the content nuke passes 3 of the 4 pillars of fair use and is therefore transformative. In all 3 of the 4 pillars that it passes, the court cites Ethan Klein's own former case against Matt Haas as a precedent that informs their decision. It's awesome. This is a shitlib apocalypse. Every single shitlib, ultra-Zionist, every single person who was just like, who is now embarrassed to openly state their support for the nation state of Israel, or many of them who still do, were in support of Ethan Klein's litigation. We'll see what happens. I mean, they can still appeal, but it doesn't look too good for the crackpot team over there. So shout out to Denham's, swag, beast mode, respect. Yeah, by the way, the lawsuit that failed, he did a whole bunch of weird shit in that lawsuit. And it turns out a normal judge looked at it and was like, this is insane. Thank God the judge was like, hey, dog, your previous precedent that you set in your previous lawsuit was actually pretty reliable in this circumstance. Yeah, they cited his own fair use suit from 2016 and it's lost, dude. Today's feel-good story. A federal judge just handed Zionist YouTuber Ethan Klein a brutal loss in his copyright lawsuit against pro-Palestine Twitch streamer Denham's TV. In a humiliating ruling, the judge cites a precedent that Klein himself created. In 2017, Klein won a landmark fair use case, Hasanabi versus Klein. After being sued for making a reaction commentary video, it became one of the most important copyright rulings in YouTube history. Creator rights advocates celebrated him. Fast forwarded to 2025. Now, the plaintiff sues several smaller streamers for doing almost exactly what he did back then, watching it, criticizing his video, in an unhinged diatribe against Hassan the Hun, live with commentary throughout. Today, Judge Wesley Su cited Hasanabi versus Klein repeatedly to rule that Denham's TV's live stream was transformative fair use. The case Klein won to protect himself is now protecting the pro-Palestine streamers he's suing. Klein's own complaint alleged that Denham's used his video for the exact opposite purpose, to defend Hassan Piker rather than condemn him. The court said, exactly, different purpose means transformative. Klein argued himself into losing. Is he being fleeced by his lawyers? Dude, can you imagine thinking you get to have a say in how people transform your content? Are you stupid? In a just world, all these reaction streamers should be thanking her for fighting their fight. Roach, X, and Destiny were celebrating her getting her sued, not knowing if she lost, it would be bad for them because they react to thousands of videos. Exactly. Unfortunately, like I said, a lot of our opposition is either unbelievably stupid or they're just horrible monsters. Sometimes both. They should be kissing Denham's feet. They should have been screeching at Ethan. Anyway, there's more. The court walked through all 4 fair use factors. 3 favored Denham strongly. The only one favoring Klein, that the nuke is a creative work deserving protection, the judge dismissed as not terribly significant in the overall balance. Accordingly, the court finds that the nature of the subject work weighs against the finding of fair use. As set forth above, however, this factor alone is not terribly significant in overall fair use balancing, because at the end of the day, the work was transformative. That's number 1. And number 2, Ethan was simply trying to sue people into submission because he didn't like what they had to say. How's that for free speech? On Denham's showing nearly the entire video, the court said that doesn't matter when copying isn't necessary for criticism. The citation was Hasanabi versus Klein. All in all, the ruling cites the literal Ethan Klein landmark fair use ruling 12 times. 12 times. Every single fair use factor that went her way cited his own case law back to him. Like, this is a landmark ruling, a game changer once again. And for the record, if you want to know how psychotic Ethan and his stupid lawyer are, this is a part of the documents that they filed where they said, it's mostly just shitting on me for some reason. The Kleins are dual Israeli-American citizens. Hila was born and raised in Israel, where she served as a secretary during her mandatory conscription into the Israeli Defense Forces. While both Ethan and Hila are highly supportive of Palestinian self-determination and extremely critical of Israel and its government, the Kleins support a two-state solution as the best interim solution to the conflict. Not relevant to the case at all, but put that in there. In the wake of October 7th, Hassan emerged as the modern incarnation of the Grand Mufti Haj Amin al-Husseini. Like al-Husseini, Hassan became a passionate advocate and highly charismatic leader. Why is this in the documents? What is this? Address this? Yeah. No, literally, this is from the actual court documents. It's not a joke. Al-Husseini meets Adolf Hitler, November 28, 1941. He's saying, I became the Grand Mufti of Palestine. In the Denims lawsuit, Hassan is compared to the Grand Mufti of Palestine. Like al-Husseini, Hassan uses massive platform to spread genocidal rhetoric about anyone advocating for the right of Jewish self-determination in their ancestral homeland, i.e. Zionists. The primary difference between Hassan... Remember, this is a copyright suit. Why is this in the DMCA suit? Is this fair use or not? And there are so many fraudulent slop tuber charlatans that looked at this and were like, this is based. There are so many fraudulent ass charlatan bitches all over the commentary sphere that looked at this suit and were like, this is awesome. Everything is above board here. This is fantastic. What are you talking about? It's a copyright suit, not even against me. It's a copyright suit against Denims. This is what I mean when I say we have a crisis in stupidity. We have a crisis in illiteracy. There is a real, genuine crisis that so many people watched this shit happen and went to like perverted, weird ass fake lawyer YouTube pages where they were like, well, I wear a suit and I'm giving you expert analysis. I'm a lawyer. And everyone was like, oh my God, this is actually incredible. Oh my God, this is peak lawyering. It's over. It's so over. Denims is 1,000,000% done. Denims is 2,000,000% done. Hassan's friend Denims is dead. Last year, when he told Ethan Klein to drop the lawsuits, the fake YouTube lawyer said, you don't know anything about copyright. Yeah. Hassan, please stop pretending you understand anything about copyright. You can barely read properly. How'd that work out for you? Legal mindset? Here's the problem. These guys are losers and they're morons, but the audience demands this kind of moronic attitude. So for them, they won't get punished. Their audiences won't turn around and be like, well, honestly, you really f***ed up here, right? You told us that this was actually going to be great. I don't think there is going to be an actual come to Jesus moment for any of these guys or their audiences. I think ultimately their audience doesn't want to know the truth. They just want to keep fighting. They want to keep fighting women in general. They want to keep fighting Muslims. None of these creators have even tweeted about it. Yeah, because they're moving on. They're going to move on to the next thing. And they're wrong all the time.
Is whether you think someone with money should be able to abuse the court to silence their enemy's speech and expression, because that is the standard Ethan is setting. Not a standard about transformation, not one about protecting intellectual property. It's just the standard of don't piss off Ethan Klein. And if you're not disgusted by that notion, you should be. Ethan would be.
In this country, we value free speech. And what a reaction video ultimately is free speech.
I think if you're a reactor on Twitch, if you make a good faith effort to comment, and if you make a good faith effort to promote the author, to link to them, to try to drive traffic to the original video, I think you're probably pretty much doing the right thing. And that's...
Yeah. You know what's ironic about that? He didn't target any of the people who didn't do that, right? He didn't target XQC. And when people asked him, like, why wouldn't you target XQC for this? Like, he literally did that shit. He didn't even abide by that standard. He said, well, XQC agrees with me, so it's fine. And it's ironic because he also brought that up in the lawsuit. One of the main reasons why he thought this was a solid lawsuit was because Denims disagreed with his original assessment. Cooked, legal lightning round. Like, gross, dude. God damn, people are so stupid.
It's fine.
Fair use doesn't give a shit if you watch the video first or not. I didn't watch this video first.
I knew they would watch the entire video, react to it instantly, giving them no time to form an opinion.
I have to show that I've watched it before and thought, well, I have something good to add. I didn't watch your video beforehand, bro.
A long-form, irresistible piece of content that I knew that these streamers couldn't resist. They couldn't avoid the temptation.
Yeah, I don't know why he also presented this like a Machiavellian plot too. Like he was like, ooh, you've fallen into my trap. And then all these morons were like, oh, hell yeah, base, dude. You trapped these women. Ugh, I hate women. I'm glad you trapped them and destroyed them. Idiots, dude. I have no goddamn respect for any of these dumb bitches. I swear to God. Look, the only way I will ever respect any of these dumbasses if they turn around, kind of like Kilotonics and many others who are in the, commentary sphere, turn around and say, look, bygones be bygones. We f***ed up initially. We were all Destiny Orbiters. It was stupid. And work to correct the goddamn record.
of watching it the second it was published.
It's speech, bro. I don't need anyone's permission to say anything.
You can't just...
Perfect vindication for not watching the context puke, by the way, initially, because he was trying to trap me in that same goddamn bullshit. Imagine having to deal with that nonstop on top of dealing with the ADL, on top of dealing with a bunch of Israel advocacy organizations that are actively trying to deplatform me, that I would also have to deal with a goddamn lawsuit. Like, ridiculous. Ridiculous, dude.
Say whatever you want. You can't just say I'm in favor of genocide. You gotta watch what you say. I'm not standing by this shit anymore.
And I'm going to call out people like Brendan too, because this is just bad for everyone. And it's especially egregious considering the hypocrisy of the whole free speech thing that these guys apparently love so well.
Free speech. You go to free speech. Shut up, dumbass.
You're shutting down criticism and you're pretending like it's a copyright issue. It's not. It's fair use. It's protected speech.
This isn't a free speech issue. This is people are getting way too comfortable slandering and saying whatever they want about people online under the guise of free speech.
There's lots of videos shitting on me on the internet.
By the way, you want to talk about defamation? I have his ass dead to rights. I have his ass dead to rights. There is a literal article that he read about the brothel that I went to in 2010 that got raided in 2016, knowing full well that the accusations by the state were wrong and that the brothel was able to successfully sue the state. He knows the truth, and yet he still participates in this slander over and over again. He should be feeling real happy that I don't pursue this kind of shit. He got banned from Celebrity Poker for calling a woman a prostitute. Jesus Christ.
You know, I wish I could just delete them off the internet. You know, wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be just convenient?
Like, yeah, he's also literally suing Noah Sampson as well. Again, no consequences. Well, thank God a judge actually is issuing a little bit of consequences. Yeah, the brothel lies, even though he personally debunked it. Ethan Klein is smearing Hassan again. He says the brothel was raided for human trafficking in 2021 on leftovers. He debunked the claim himself. There was no arrest about human trafficking. All accusations were unfounded and false. Berlin had to pay 250,000 euros in damages. And Ethan Klein knows that because he read it on his stream next to me, okay, in 2021. But of course, in 2024, when he wants to slander, he plays fast and loose with the truth. And there are plenty of people who despise me who will go along with it. It's just so gross. I just want people to be a little bit more intelligent, man. Is that too much to ask? Is that a crazy demand that we just, not behave this way? That we have a little bit more care and a little bit more consideration for the truth? It sucks. It sucks.
You can't
but I just wanted to play this out real quick. I gotta pee and then...
and free speech is tested when it's targeted at you.
You can't just say whatever the you want. It's time to start holding people accountable for the shit they're saying.
I fight every day to protect free speech. I put my money on the line, I go to court, and I'll do it as many times as I need to.
You guys have been doing this for years. It's the jig is up. You're gonna have to tell it to a judge, literally.
By the way, this guy likes threatening to sue people. All over fair use and my right to free speech.
And if I wanted to sue you, I probably could ruin your whole life. It'll be great to sue them. I'd love to sue her. I'd love to sue him. I'm gonna sue you. It's not a threat. I'm going to sue you.
We get to pursue legal fees for this garbage anti-free speech lawsuit.
And to all the detractors who are saying that I'm a hypocrite for suing for copyright infringement, I just have this to say. I don't care.
It's easy to defend free speech when it's got nothing to do with you, right? When it makes you look good. But when free speech makes you look bad, then let's see how much you defend it.
If you control F Hassan, the judge mentions you 14 times. Why am I mentioned 14 times in this? Filed as a statutory plaintiff's tragicomic documentary entitled Content Nuke Hassan Piker, the nuke, posted on plaintiff's YouTube channel. The nuke centered on the allegedly controversial political ideologies of the alt-left Twitch streamer Hassan Piker regarding the Israel-Palestine conflict. In the final decision, Klein presents the two motivations behind the nuke, which are to stop Hassan's infiltration of mainstream media, which, by the way, what a failure that was. Remember, that was the final goal. Ethan Klein's final goal was to stop my infiltration of mainstream media. Since then, I mean, he's obviously been very, very successful at that, hasn't he? What is this? The nuke for the exact purpose. Throughout the defendant's live stream, defendant provides commentary pertaining to the criticism of the nuke. Indeed, plaintiff states where the nuke seeks to expose how Piker radicalizes people online to be anti-Semitic and anti-Israeli. Denim attempts to use the nuke for the exact opposite purpose of radicalize her audience to be anti-Semitic and anti-Israeli, along with defending Hassan. During the live stream, defendant contends that the nuke resembles a high school video project or a middle school project. Defendant also complains about the documentary's editing. The source of the documentary relies upon and supposed inconsistencies in Klein's statements, and the video treats the audience as morons as it allegedly attempts to trick them. As further support of defendant's commentary throughout the live stream, the complaint states that defendant frequently makes comments that are later contradicted by the nuke itself. Defendant offers further criticism of the subject documentary during her live stream. Yeah, this was one of the major points that the judge also issued, where the judge was like, dude, in your argument, you said denims actually contradicted your overall goals, which immediately implies that it is a transformative subject. It is transformative because of the accusation. One of the accusations that you launched against denims was that in the argument that this is not transformative, this work is not transformative at all, the argument that you presented was that it was transformative. It's so stupid. So you owned yourself even with the complaint. Yeah, Ethan's going to come out tomorrow and be like, it was a Biden-appointed judge. This was an Obama judge. This was an Obama judge. Clearly, I demand a retrial. Yeah, the courts have treated me unfairly, more unfairly than I've ever been treated, than anyone else has ever been treated. Yeah, the judge in this case... The judge in charge of this case, in general, is a Biden auto pen hire. The only ones coping are you R-words, lol. Yeah, hey, Awk 2000, maybe cover this, but let's see if you have enough self-respect. Lemao, turns out we were right. Denims won, another Hutch L. Yeah.
It's called the light most favorable. In evaluating a motion for judgment on the pleadings, a court must accept all factual allegations in the complaint as true and construe them in the light most favorable to the non-moving party. What the judge is saying here is, I made myself biased toward Ethan. I said everything Ethan says is true. But with the full context, you lose anyway. You lose anyway. Ethan, you lose. Even biased toward you, I can't fairly say that you have a chance of winning. Do you understand how much of an L this is? This is an extra, like, there's no way to lose harder than this legally. Like, legally, this is as bad as it gets.
For reference, winning a motion for judgment on the pleadings as a defendant is very hard to do. At what points do the courts determine him a malicious litigant and bar him from future lawsuits? I don't think it works that way in the United States of America. I mean, I don't know. What is it called? The vexatious litigant, right? After 7, it does work that way. He'd have to lose 5 cases in LA. Oh my God. They're doing a hearing on this motion at 2:15, so we should see this ruling finalized then. If that occurs, Ethan loses. Awk blocked me, so I couldn't retweet it, shaking my head. Here's the original video I was quote retweeting.
XQC or Asmongold could end up with an opinion that's like way more broad.
Oh, wait, and this couldn't?
I suppose, but I think there's less risk in this situation, though, right? Wouldn't you say?
Why?
Because of the particular egregious nature of their malice.
No, but that's not an element in the fair use analysis or in the...
Pisco LARPs as an attorney when he's about as qualified as Mike from PA. Well, it turns out Pisco and Mike from PA were actually correct. And the fake legal scholars that you constantly promoted, who are literally MAGA supporting weirdo sex pests, by the way, like sex tourism lawyers, right? Fake lawyers that are, I don't even know where the these guys live. Half of these guys are just not real lawyers at all, simply claim to be on YouTube. They were wrong. It turns out that the guys that you're calling fake lawyers, like Pisco, LARPing as an attorney, were right. Their analysis was right. So what do you do?
The test for infringement. You know, intentional siphoning is not an element, right? I could intend to siphon money from you, but give a fair use work, right? I could say, I really want to steal from Hutch, and I'm going to do this, but it turns out that my work is fair use, right?
Someone like XQC or Asmongold could end up with an opinion that's like way more broad.
Oh, wait, and this couldn't?
I suppose. But
yeah. Didn't they pass the bar? Didn't they go to law school? I don't know if Michael passed the bar. I know Mike went to law school, but I mean, Pisco is an actual attorney. Yeah. He says Denims gets a win in the Ethan Klein copyright case for new claim. The court has held tentatively her reaction was fair use. As I previewed weeks ago, if the court relied on Stebbins, Denims would be in a good spot. Completely absent from the analysis, intentional stated malice. As I've always maintained, I still think Ethan has a strong claim on the countdown reaction and therefore is likely to win on at least one cause of action. But the nuke reaction by Denims was always the harder case, especially when compared to other reactions like XQC's. This is tentative, yes, but given the language here, hard for me to see Ethan recovering on the claim, except perhaps on appeal if he so chooses. Yeah. Meanwhile, Mallory McMorrow was on Hutch's broadcast yesterday, apparently. So look forward to that massive bump that will take place. The intentionally stated malice was the reason why Ethan Klein argued that he won't sue Roach or X. He argued because the 3 women said, watch my stream instead. It is actual malice. The court didn't even mention that part because it's irrelevant. Ethan literally made Casey Tron do a ISIS hostage style video. The reason the lawsuit has so much, and then Hassan did this, and then Hassan did this was, I think, because Ethan Klein was baiting Hasanabi to react to his slop so we could sue him. Yeah, and I never did, and I never gave him that satisfaction. He was driven to the verge of tears, begging on camera, demanding that I watch his video. At which point, that probably would have destroyed his chances of suing me anyway. I think he thought I was dumb enough to just like lean into this immediately and react to it. And when I didn't do it, he just lied to his audience and kept repeatedly saying, oh, he's too afraid. And for months on end, while I'm over here covering Donald Trump literally becoming the president and all of the insanity every single day, day in, day out, regardless of where I am and on the planet. I was in Japan, I was traveling. They would just come in and be like, why don't you react? Are you too pussy to react?